Welcome, everyone. Hopefully, you can hear me. I'm looking to see right now if you can. All right, let's go here. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. No. Yikes. Now you hear me? You can hear me now? Hello? If you hear me, just Renan, let me know again if you can hear me. And if you do, then I can get going. I'm just looking. Crisp is working. Oh no, that's the same as what the hell is going on here? Let's just see if I can do this. And I'm not using this, I guess. What a shame. All right. Well, so welcome everyone. I don't know that how is the sound? Is it okay? Yes, I'm in a hotel room and so I'm in a hotel room in Arizona and I'm working on my presentation. The mastermind started already, but I'm always late with my presentation. So that's what I'm working on right now. And so I could be out enjoying myself or talking to people at the mastermind or finishing this presentation, but I have decided to spend some time with you guys and just catch up and see what I can help you with, answer any questions that you may have. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, so if anyone's even remotely close to Scottsdale, Arizona, let me know. I'll be here all week. And let's see. So obviously the lighting ain't all that, and I was trying to do it from outside, and that would have been fun, but there were mosquitoes outside, and I thought that would just be a cluster. And so right now I got in at about midnight last night here, so about the equivalent of 3 o'clock in the morning for me, and got up early and had breakfast, and then I've been working on my slides. I saw Troy Erickson here, just got off a Zoom call with Todd Brown, and we were talking about different problem-solving strategies. And that is kind of what's going on. I've actually also been watching more information these days lately about what a lot of the biggest influencers on YouTube are doing. It's kind of interesting to me that I hadn't been that interested in it before, but been spending more time looking at what Mr. Beast does. I came across a really good video on clickbait and what makes people click on thumbnails and stuff like that. And so it was I forget, it's clickbait is unusually effective is the name of the video on YouTube that is well worth watching. I highly recommend it. And so I'm here. I don't know how long I'm going to do this. Maybe I'll do it for about an hour. And really what I'm here for today, more than anything else, is just to answer questions. Any kind of questions that you have would be my pleasure to answer them. And this way make valuable use of our time together. My name is Rich Sheffrin, for those that don't know. I've been online for about 20 plus years. I've coached a lot of the biggest names in online marketing, as well as in many other niches online. And the nowadays, I do some private consulting to some of the largest direct response companies, companies like Agora Publishing, and my company Strategic Profits has a product called Steal Our Winners that really is our primary focus, and that's where I'm spending most of my time right now. In fact, for those of you who know me well, what I would say is that I made my career, you could say, or got known, or made most of my money. Primarily selling things that people didn't think they wanted. And so that required a lot of marketing pre-releasing the courses that sold those things to get people to shift their mindsets and their beliefs about how they saw whatever it was that I was going to be releasing. And so I guess because I marketed in a pretty unusual way, I didn't really feel any pressure, because from a standpoint that I felt that I was extremely good at doing that, right? Marketing and selling something that people need but don't want, or don't think they want. And I felt, so anytime I was working on a campaign, I kind of felt that no one could do what I was about to do. And because I felt that no one could do what I was about to do, there was really there wasn't really any anxiety, and there was almost like a proudness of it. With Steal Our Winners is exceptionally desirable straight from the get-go, and has a lot more potential in it. And because of that, it's interesting. I haven't been in a business where I really felt like it had so many things going for it. The question is like, am I going to do good enough job to deliver what this product, program, whatever you want to call it, it warrants? In other words, the potential is more than what I'm used to, has many different angles that it could go down. And because of that, now all of a sudden there is a little bit of anxiety. Like, I don't want to mess it up. I want to make sure that I make the right moves at the right times. And so with all that said, that is why Steal Our Winners is such a focus of mine, because I believe that the potential is bigger than anything I've ever worked on. I think that it is also more game-changing than anything I've worked on. And for those reasons, it makes me a little anxious. So let's just go back and forth. I'm going to go with comments and just, ask your questions, comment, emote, thumbs up, subscribe, do all those things. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Periscope. And I was going to do Instagram, but just didn't get around to it this morning, so no Instagram. And let's hear from Trader Rob from Riverview, Florida, and shared. Thank you, Rob. You rock. My question is about networking. How do I network to people I want to propose joint ventures with and not come off selling myself to them? Well, it comes with the territory, right? So I think that the best way to go about it, Rob, is to be somewhat transparent, because the worst is when someone is not. And to recognize that people come to me quite often and are willing to do something for me in exchange for me to promote, right? So Rich, we'll get your email deliverability up to here, and if we do, will you tell the world about it and promote for us? And so I get those kind of requests all the time, and a lot of times I say yes. And so I'm always down for that, and I imagine other people would be too. I don't know whether you can go down that road, Trader Rob, because I don't know what it is you sell, but if there are influencers that could also use what you sell, and they also have an audience, then you could do something for them for free that then they could tell their audience about, right? And that works incredibly well. And at the end of the day, you want to look for ways to help people, right? If people feel like their life is better off because of an interaction with you, or because you came into their life, all the better. And that's really, I think, how you approach it. You recognize that you want something from them. They don't know you. They're probably not going to give it to you, but that you are aware of that and you want to invest in them first. You want to help them. And I make it a purpose of mine, like as a real thing, right? That, these two thoughts, that one, you learn more about someone almost always at the end of a relationship than you do during the beginning or middle, right? You see people's true colors at the end of a relationship. And that I want to live my life in a way where I at least feel, I think the barrier should be higher, but okay. That I'm a force for good in the world, and that my business is too, and that anyone that comes into contact with me or with my business is better off because of it. And that means that if I'm going to fire someone, for example, my goal has to be to help them find something better or more aligned with them. And same in all areas, right? Like, relationships ending don't mean as much to me from the standpoint that they let me say that again. That's not the right way to say it. That ending a relationship is not as significant to me because I know that my obligation hasn't ended yet, and as long as I'm going to make sure they're better off, then I'm doing what's in their best interest as well as my own best interest. And so what I would say is look to provide value to people, be transparent, be honest. I hate when people call me and they want to bullshit for 30 minutes because they don't want to just ask me the one question that they want to ask me, and they're asking me all these questions pretending to be interested in stuff they're not interested in. And then right when we are about to say goodbye, all of a sudden then they get the balls to ask the question that they wanted. And I hate that. I'd much rather, like, hey, I need a favor. Like, if I'm going to call a friend and ask for a favor, I'd be like, hey man, I need a favor from you, but I don't really want to start the conversation with that. So let's get to that later. But blah, 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 right? Or something like that. Or I'd really like to begin a professional relationship with you because I believe you could be a great affiliate for us. I recognize the fact that maybe right now, like, I don't know what your affiliate policy is and whether you do joint ventures, but we don't know each other anyway. So I would like to invest in this relationship and help you in any way that I can. Something like that, Trader Rob. Hello from Brazil. Hello, Renan. Good to see you. Thanking here, and thanks for being a fan. For always posting wonderful stuff. Rich, what are your top 3 tactics for overcoming your ADHD? For me, it's a daily struggle. A couple things, Renan. One, I try as much as possible. I mean, this might not help that much, but it helps me a lot. And it always works. I wish I could do more things like this. But compounding activities, right? So there's a reason why I find it easy to get on the elliptical every morning or work out, right? But generally the elliptical, because I do my reading on the elliptical, and so they go hand in hand for me. And so if I don't read, I'm not doing the elliptical. If I don't do the elliptical, I'm not reading. So it gets easier to kind of start my day with that. And nowadays, I also do meditation. I do Sam Harris's waking up meditation. And I do that on an inversion bench. So I'm hanging upside down, and that's how I meditate. And so I'm doing the inversion and meditation at the same time. And I find that my ability to be consistent is so much higher when I'm compounding things, because now I'm like, I feel hyper productive whenever I'm doing one of those things. And these are things I really want to do. So that certainly helps quite a bit. When I'm working on anything important, I work to a timer, and I have sprints with myself, like 30-minute sprints. I find that's very helpful. And I'd say last but not least, I find that using mind maps has really helped me quite a bit. That when I need to kind of organize something, work on something on a daily basis, I find mind maps are the easiest thing for me to do it with. And so those would be the first top 3 suggestions I would give you, Renan. If you don't take fish oil, by all means, you should. I think it's omega-3s or omega-6s. I don't remember which one. But it's really good for depression. It's also really good for ADD. And you might want to figure out ways to facilitate an increase in adrenaline, right? So stimulants, that's what they do, like Adderall and stuff like that. Deadlines do that. doing work for someone that you greatly care about what they think of you could do it. But recognize that there are times when you thrive, and the more clear you can be about those times that you thrive, right, the easier it is to replicate. One of the reasons why I am such a big fan of having a journal, like writing in a journal, is that your experience is always going to be your best teacher. And so if you look at the, like, for me, for example, I know that the mind maps and the timer, like, I've been reminded of that over and over again in my journal, because every time that I am really rocking and rolling, like, I will be, when I'm really having some momentum, I'll write about it. And so over the years, I've kind of recognized that those are some of the things for me. There have been times Renan, where I'm sure you have been productive. And so the question is what was occurring for you during that time that you can potentially appropriate and use as a strategy? And so that's where I would look first. I would look there first for basically anyone, because your experience is always going to be your best teacher. Okay, I think we got the sound taken care of, or hopefully we did. Hello, Jason in Tampa. Good to see you. Yep, lots of yeses. Cool. I wonder if I could just, can I do it? No, I can't. Okay, yeah, it's cool. Loud and clear. Cool. Am I in a hotel? Where am I? I'm in Arizona. I'm in Scottsdale, and I'm staying at the, where am I staying? I'm staying at the Scottsdale Resort at McCormick Ranch. That's where I'm staying. All right, lots of sounds great. Not much reverb. Good to go. Cool. Lovely. Nice kitten. Hey, Lisa, Miami Beach. Good to see you. Giving it your all as usual. Good luck on your presentations. Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm in the house, Cam. Hello, Joanne Thompson and Ned Bragg. And what's your biggest project right now aside from Steal Our Winners? It's just all Steal Our Winners right now. I remember watching a video of yours maybe 10 years ago. It was about mind mapping and using software to stay productive and organized. It was extremely useful. Let's say someone is using the same software apps for personal productivity they were using a decade ago. What apps or software would you recommend today? How do you personally organize information today? Which apps, software do you use personally and in business? Hello, Michael. All right. Well, I wouldn't really put myself out there as having like the best system or process. I did jump away from that old used to, which what Michael's talking about is I used to have a mind map as my starting document on my desktop, and my mind map linked out to all the different files, all my notes, and I used a mind map as a linking structure out to other mind maps, to everything. Nowadays I use Evernote, but I'd say that, like, really, I think I want to have a system where I store everything in Evernote. Anything I create, I put in Notion, and then have everything linked together in Rome. But that would be like kind of somewhat over the top, and probably have to have an expert or two work on attaching these tools for me. But I like the unstructuredness of Evernote, and I like storing everything I come across in there. Because I store everything in there, it's not so great as a place, as a repository of what I've created, since it's so full of stuff that other people have created. Hence why I'm thinking, like, after I've taken my highlights and done all that and put it like at the top of a note in Evernote, I might want to take those notes, just the part of the top that I've written now, and bring them into something that's just all my writing. So that's what I'm thinking about. But Michael, I'd say that, really Rome, Evernote, and Notion are the three like primary organization tools that I'd recommend. And I really am not that knowledgeable about Rome. I mean, I understand their functionality, but that's about it. But what I would say is that I truly, truly, truly believe that you need to have a way of like recording what you're learning and recording your thoughts, because we're getting into a world now where the odds are we're all going to be doing different things in the future. That's just the world we live in today. And that means that your ability to learn and relearn is going to be highly important. And if you haven't left like a trail of breadcrumbs, like to find the useful stuff that you've uncovered in the past, then I think you're doing yourself a disservice. So I think, Michael, I think your question is spot on. I think everyone needs to move in a direction where they really have like their own organized information life, kind of, so to speak. And I think you got to find what works for you. There is no best system. The person that I probably have gotten the most value from when it comes to this is Tiago Fort from Build a Second Brain. And I'd strongly recommend you check him out and check out some of the essays he's written and courses, etc. Very bright guy, and someone that you can benefit greatly from. It really, you need to think about what's the output that you're trying to create, and the system should really be designed to facilitate that. I hope that helps, Michael. I know it's not like specifics, but I hope that helps. All right, let's see. Where did I lose you guys? Let's see. All right. Thanks for doing this live. You're a pleasure, Sean. And thank you for sharing, Ned and Mary. Hello. Now we are making our first launch. Well, congratulations, Mary. And how is it going? Clickbait should be a capital offense, LOL. Well, there's two types of clickbait. And this isn't about the bad kind. So it's called clickbait is unusually effective. And if you haven't watched that video on YouTube, I strongly recommend you do. Hello, Rich and everyone. Hello, Samuel. And yes, live. What legal protection disclaimer should we consider with info marketing? That's much more of a Matt issue than a Jesus. That's much more of a Matt issue than a Rich issue. So I don't feel that qualified to answer that. I'm just turning my hyphen back on there. I don't feel as qualified to, obviously income, terms of service, list, privacy, but I'm sure there's more, Jason. And that kind of information I think you can find pretty easily just looking it up online, and I'm not an expert by that. Rich, what do you think of the law of attraction using visualization to aim for goals? How do you decide and aim for your business goals? Bailey, I have a very unusual way of looking at goals and life and stuff like that. I think I don't believe in the law of attraction. I do believe that you can have an attractive personality, and I think that you can attract things into your life. And I think you can prime yourself to notice for more things. And I do think a positive mindset helps you, but I don't think it causes success. I think you can be successful with a negative mindset as well. For me personally, the only purpose of a goal is to get me to take action. It's the only thing. Life happens when I'm taking action. Life happens when I'm in pursuit of things. And what I'm in pursuit of is a lot less important than at least I feel is a lot less important than most people feel. Because like I've achieved enough things in my life that when I've achieved them, I've been happy for a week or two because of that success. And then it just fades into the background. So there is no big like pot of gold, so to speak, at the end of the rainbow. And because of that, I'm much more concerned about what life is like in the day to day. And so the purpose of a goal is to get me into action, into pursuit, because when I'm in pursuit, I feel most alive and I want to feel alive. And so for me, I evaluate my goals on whether they motivate me to get up and take action. And if they do, and they get me to take positive action in the right direction, then the goals are great. And if the goal doesn't, right? Like I don't feel motivated to achieve my goals. Well, then I have if I'm in that situation, then I completely change my goals, because it's not about me getting motivated to reach certain goals. It's about goals doing what they're supposed to do, motivate me to take action to move closer to the goals. So I'm much less concerned about the goal than I am about its impact on right now and whether it's impacted me to move forward. Hope that helps. I know it's a little bit unusual, but like that's what's worked best for me, Bailey. Hi, Rich. Thoughts on how to properly build a team for a small business with low overhead? How do you go about thinking about adding help when the overhead can bury but you need to grow and do volume? J-Rock, it really depends. Every entrepreneur is going to be different. And anyone that tells you that they have like a specific process for all different types of businesses, that would be a crock. Okay. So I think it really is dependent on what you're trying to achieve, for one. And really a specific question that I think is valuable, especially for an entrepreneur who wants to start building out a team. And that is really like, which of these is more true? If you had more time yourself, your business would make more money. Or if you had some skills that you currently don't have, your business would make more money. And depending on how you answer that question, that will determine who you might want to hire next. So when I'm faced with that decision, right, more of my time or skills that I don't have, which of those would be it? Um, Generally, I'm going to attack both at some point, but which one would make a bigger difference? And when I first started Strategic Profits, I did it with a right-hand gentleman by the name of Dan Karen, and I had an assistant, Sheila. But Dan was really the missing piece for my business. Dan was a generalist, and I'm a generalist. Dan knew how to write copy. I know how to write copy. Dan was into internet marketing. I'm into internet marketing. But Dan knew tech. I did not know tech. So Dan could throw up a WordPress blog or get like, our email system set up and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you, so if your business would grow more from other skills than you don't have, then you want to hire someone with those skills. And so your first like hire really should be someone that complements you, but does not like take stuff off your plate per se. Whereas if it was more of your time, then it would be about getting an assistant or getting someone below you that you could feed this stuff to. And an assistant will generally open up many hours a day just because you're not having to deal with stuff. So really depends if it's you having more time or the business having more skills. And depending on that, that's really the determines the trajectory. Then, right, what you're trying to do depending on your model, once again, if you have a very simple model, you might be able to have a very small team and have people in charge of the different elements of the model. If you don't have a simple model though, and you're gearing up, the first couple of hires, you really want to think about generalists. Like you could think about all the skills that you need your business to have in order to thrive and have a competitive advantage. And you could turn that into a matrix, right? Like just a graph, like not a graph, right? But just like columns and cells, a table, right? These are all the skills. And you want to hire people that cover as much of the table, right? That you want the least number of employees that cover all of the things that must be get done for you to continue to grow. And so in the beginning of a business, you hire generalists. As you grow, you hire more specialists. And if you have a very simple model, you might be able to start with specialists, but that really is model dependent. I don't know if that helps you, J Rock, but that's my experience. And I've gone through it with so many entrepreneurs. So I am talking from experience. I hope that helps. Sam, here's my model for supplement drop shipping, traffic, affiliates, sales and conversion, copying good offer, customer service, email and remarketing, and launching new products. Would you agree? It's very high level. It's so high level. It's like, yeah, of course. You know, Sean, I mean, Sam, I just wonder though, like, not that you want to hear this, but where's the advantage here? Are you're not going to have better, I assume you're not going to have better product because you're doing it through drop shipping. It might not even be like individually labeled, right? So why should customers buy that? Why should affiliates market that? Like, are you selling? Is it easier to sell for them? Is it a higher, like, are they going to make more per click? Are they like, they're not doing good in the world? Like, it's not like these are the best vitamins and I just want to try and get them in everyone's hands. So that's not there either. Um, so really, like, why should customers buy from you and why should affiliates be sending their traffic to you? And if you don't have a good answer for that, don't expect them to come up with one. So my while on the surface, Sam, this looks fine. You know, why would the affiliate do your drop shipping offer versus someone else who's also selling from the same company that, like, because they just don't know about that? Like, that's not the best way to build a company. You don't, you want, ideally, you want your customers to be the smartest in the market, not the dumbest. And then by like them sending traffic to you when they could be sending traffic to someone better that would make them more, then they're stupid. And that business is gonna not be as easy to run at the end of the day and grow. So, yes, Sam, on the surface, this looks fine. But if there's not a core compelling reason why people should buy from you, if there's not a core compelling reason why affiliates should send their traffic to you, then I'm afraid that this, what sounds good in a paragraph, might end up being a nightmare when it's made into reality. You were doing the best job of Scalar when it was fantastic content all the time, really useful. Thank you, Manan. Hi, Rich. Rajendra from India. Hi, Rajendra. And Galen, how would you offer a paid masterclass if everyone is used to marketers offering a free masterclass? I think you just focus in on what's going to be true for people when the masterclass is done. You know, I see this problem quite often. Focus on not what's covered in the masterclass, focused on what will be true for them that's not true now as soon as the masterclass is done. You will know the 3 best ways to start a YouTube ad. You'll know whatever it is. I don't think that's a problem though, Galen. Sir, please help me. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, let's all call Sana and in Malaysia. Hey Rich, Lonzo from Dallas, Texas here. Hello, Lonzo. And in case anyone wants to send Sana money, there is his or her email address. Sana, there are much better ways than begging for help. And I wish you luck, but you're not going to get that from this, I would imagine. Hey, Rich, you've mentioned in one of your presentations that your knowledge base is stored in Evernote. Would you please share how do you organize your articles in Evernote? How do you make them easy to search? Is there any structure you would suggest to use? Thank you very much. Well, I do categorize them. I tag them. I then also process a progressive summarization process. I'd have to open up my Evernote and kind of go through the whole process. And that in and of itself would probably take a few hours. I could certainly do that at some point. But I think it would be too much to do right now. Basically, everything I come across goes in. Go down. I then decide whether I'm going to delete it or keep based on when I start reading it. If, as I'm reading it, I decide I'm going to start keeping it, I start bolding immediately what I think is important. After I'm done bolding it, it then goes to its proper folder, notebook, right? Tags. And it will also be marked that this has now been bolded. The next step in this process is highlighted. And I won't necessarily highlight it for no reason, but if I'm working on that area, I will then pull through all the notes that I have already and then take it one step further to recondition my head, get familiar with what I've already looked at, and then take things further. So for me, that works really well. Recognize your background with Agora. Do you see investing in the stock market or real estate the most lucrative return vehicle in the near future? Well, just because I work with Agora and work for Agora, I don't really look at any of that material. You know, that is not where I spend my time. And so I would imagine real estate, you know, because of inflation. Who knows though? Yeah. I mean, I own a bunch of real estate. That's probably, I just rented out my building again. I'm very happy about that. But anyway, knowing what you know about the internet marketing space, what would be one habit you'd recommend new entrepreneurs start? Write every day. 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 It doesn't matter what you do. If you are an entrepreneur and you have no need for writing, you could be writing every day a bunch of different ideas for offers, a bunch of different ideas for videos, bunch of different ideas for motions. If you did that every day, you'd certainly have a lot and you'd come up with some good ideas. So I would say that. I would say write every day and move something forward every day. Probably the two most important, Lonzo. Good question. Most people, well, not most people, a lot of people delay way too long. And I see it all the time. My goal is to establish an income, not just funnels. That's cool. I just hope that your supplements are wonderful supplements. Me too. I call it task pairing. Oh, cool. Well, I love it then, Kimberly. And I'm a fan. We're both fans of task pairing. I dig it. Sounds like you answered my question. Journaling. Cool. On my 4th week of full keto, good. Love the energy and clarity it gives. Trying to get to 1 meal a day. Do you have a second favorite dinner other than roasted broccoli? Well, Jason, a lot of people make the mistake of when they're doing keto of eating too much protein and enough fat. So just be careful of that. A ketogenic diet is you running on ketones. Ketones are made from fat. You definitely don't want to have it all come from protein. It makes your body very acidic. You can get gout. There are other challenges with it. So just be careful with that. And yeah, I mean, when I'm on keto, I feel fantastic and much healthier and less hungry. But what I do is I make omelets. So I make egg omelets with lots of cheese because the cheese has fat in it. I make salmon in the air fryer and also steak in the air fryer. Those are both great. And trying to think of what other like keto friendly snacks. I like super coffee. Publix was having a sale on it, so I cleaned them out. That has fat, protein, and coffee in it. Those are a few. Near, hey, from Israel, waiting for tomorrow's steal our winners this year. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Who's going to Rich? I can't make it. We might stream for a few people, I think. Not sure what the plan is with that. I thought we're having like a team meeting, so I guess we're having 2 meetings there during that time. So would love to have each and every one of you, whoever can come, it would be nice. Thank you, extremely useful as always. Cool. Glad, Michael. Welcome to SOW Roadshow. Whose emails do you always open? Well, okay, so understand also that I don't go into my email box every day, but there are certain people's emails that automatically forward into my Evernote. So one of those people is Tiago Fort. Another one of those is Holloway. Another one is podcast notes. Another one is, I mean, these are all ones that just primarily send content, obviously. So I would say those, but understand that I'm just not as big of an email consumer as probably most of you. To me, email, like, and I'm not saying this in a proud way, like, it's just that, like, to me, email represents other people's priorities. It never represents mine. I don't email. I don't, like, I will call you, I will text you if I want something from you. So when I'm going to the email, it really represents like the outside world to me. It's not where I consume my information for the most part. You know, for me, there's only one destination site, as much as I hate to say this. But for me, there's only one thing online that, like, if I have a computer around me or my phone or my iPad, odds are is that during the 24-hour period, I will most likely, if I'm going to be online at all, I will get on YouTube. So YouTube is pretty much the only thing that I do with incredible frequency, and that's it. So that's maybe like anything I'm interested in, I'm going to start like exploring that more on in YouTube than any place else. Thank you so much for the tactics on ADD, Rich, says Renan. The journal does help me dealing with it. I love compounding, but never really tried it as a routine, giving it a shot. Yeah, the more things you can combine, like, I don't know, just something about ADD and doing that kind of gives you good feelings. After 15 years away from creating a business marketplace website, how would I start again now? I have just joined SOW. Is it your business infinity funnel next? Well, it's going to be an infinity funnel, Joanne, from the standpoint that we really have the ability to have at this point, I think about 160 or so, or 170, I don't know, front end products that we should be able to start extrapolating the data, so that the funnels are being built on the fly for you. But that's for Steal Our Winners. And we are trying to create a brand new kind of offering online, and taking the best parts from Audible, the best parts from Netflix, etc., and then take it to education. So we'll see if it works. And but that is yes. The answer is yes, because there's infinite ways to acquire. There's infinite ways to engage. There's infinite ways to upsell and back end in this platform. And so now it's us figuring out what are the ways that are best, that work best with a platform like this. What's the biggest mantra? What is the biggest mantra to be successful in online business? Well, I would say that to be successful in anything, Rajendra, I try and make things as much as humanly possible, a win-win-win-win. So how, like, if you can figure out a way where everybody wins, you have a much higher likelihood of stuff actually happening. So how can everyone be a winner? That's the question. Hey, Rich, I'm making cliff notes on all your lives. So much info. If you'd like to share the notes with your people, let me know. Jamis, I would so like that. I'd love to see the notes that you take. So yeah, message me in Facebook. And if you can't message me there, message me on like LinkedIn or in Instagram and say, got your notes or something like that in the headline, subject line, whatever, so I can see it. But yes, definitely interested. Would love to see what you get from this. Question for Rich. What are the most important elements and characteristics of an online sales funnel, such as ClickFunnels or any other system, that makes a sales funnel different and unique and powerful in what they do compared to other sales techniques? Obviously, automation, but what would you say are the 5 or 10 most important elements of a funnel? That is more of a conceptual question than a choice. Okay, I'm just looking to see if there's anything else from Mark there that we continued. No. Okay. Well, okay, so you're throwing me off a little bit here about characteristics of a sales funnel, right? But then you're asking about like what are the most 5 or 10 most important elements? And is this like, are you asking from the standpoint of like building a platform like ClickFunnels and Groove, or are you asking from the standpoint of someone that uses a funnel to sell? Because obviously it's very different. And I'm not sure here when you talk about elements, like a funnel's effective not because you can split test it. You can split test any page. So really that's kind of irrelevant from, like, you wouldn't ascribe that to just funnels. What funnels are really good for is to bring a wider group of people in, like the market, right? And as you qualify more, as they learn more, less and less people until you match with the right people. So it's much more about sequential, like, marketing than it is anything else, right? It's understanding that you can't bring someone from hot to cold in one interaction, that things have to happen over time and space, right? And that sequence of events is really what makes a funnel work. Now, it also limits a funnel because it's not flexible, right? It's kind of rigid. But I'm not, like I said, Mark, I'm not sure what you're asking me. If you're asking me, like, for a page builder company, that's very different. The pages you have to have the best and the most recent and templates, right? And you have to have good people creating those templates because that's what most people are going to be using. You need to have the lowest latency possible for page speed, which ClickFunnels has a problem with. You need, because they don't create the pages beforehand, they render them like when they're called. So page speed, insanely important. The next thing would be APIs. How much does your funnel system integrate with? And do you integrate with the tools that most of the market uses, whatever they are? So those are different, right, than someone who's using a funnel. I'm not sure which side you're asking me, because you're asking me about features, but like those features are kind of irrelevant to a marketer, because they could be covered in other areas. You don't need a split testing tool in ClickFunnels. You can use your own split testing tool. So from that standpoint, yeah. I hope that helps, Mark, but if you want to ask me in another way, I'll be glad to help. As an information marketer, how do you decide what information to give away in your marketing versus what to hold back on for your paid products? Well, as an information marketer, I decide what information I want to give away by sharing the information that shifts beliefs, gets people to see my perspective, helps people understand why they would be more successful with the type of stuff we're talking about. And so it's much more so. I've never thought about it, John, the way you think about it. Let me put it that way. Okay. And I've made a mistake once or twice too, where I gave away too much information. But that mistake was part of this mistake too. So I would say, right, that there's a big difference between when I write a Founders Club report versus my marketing reports. And if you're a member of our Facebook group, you can see both, right? I've uploaded a few of my founder reports. My free reports are out there, and you'll see that my free reports for the most part, stay more on the conceptual level. They don't, except for the manifesto, ask you to do a bunch of work. They're meant to be a quick read that you are surprised that you read so much in such a short time and you've gone through the whole thing. In my founder reports, which are paid reports, I'm not interested in you getting through it fast. I'm not interested in there not being any friction. I'm interested in you getting the outcome. And in order for you to get the outcome, you're going to have to do some thinking. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to, so it reads totally different. So that's how I approach it. I am trying to shift people's perspectives, give them an epiphany and aha. If I do that, I know I've got them. And I want to leave them wanting more. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rich Stefan live from Scottsdale, Arizona, throwing business gems in our faces. Thanks, Renan. What are your favorite nootropics that you're taking now that are giving you results? Same stuff for the most part. I'd say that I did add ipamorelin and semamorelin. Those are both peptides that IG1, my IGF-1 was low, which is great if you want to live long, but not so great if you want to feel great while living long. So ipamorelin and semamorelin are two peptides that will increase growth hormone, but not directly. They work on like the pituitary and something else. And because of that, I guess you're not able to do too much. And that's a good thing with growth hormone. Are there any other nootropics that I've been taking recently? There are a bunch that I take, right, that I've shared with you guys. And I've also been playing around with bioenergetics, biooptimizers. They have this big nootropic stack. Some fun stuff there. I'll do another one with Ryan at some point. I actually owe him a phone call. Let's do a nootropics one in a couple weeks. Rich, I'm about to fire 2 people from my office, the cleaning lady and my assistant. I'm interested in your thoughts on how to do it, concerning what you said in the beginning. Well, you look, Renan, I mean, it all depends, right? Like how you want to go about doing it, and whether or not my favorite way of firing people is to give numerous warnings and then sit them down after giving them numerous warnings and nothing changing and saying, look, man, or woman, I did this. I warned you about this then, and you kept doing it. I did this and I did that, right? And I've warned you 3 times. You keep doing it. If you were me, what would you do now in this situation? And most of the time they say, I'd fire me. And I'm like, there you go. And if they say, I give myself another chance, and I would say, well, that's probably why you're not a manager yet. And I am. And we've given you enough chances, unfortunately. And so we're going to have to part ways here. So that's generally the way I like to do it most. sometimes that doesn't really the person on the other side just doesn't get it. Ryan and I have decided to part ways, and my and we got together once already, and we'll get together again when I get back from Arizona because it's my goal to help him get to wherever he wants to go to. So even though like Ryan and I just butted heads a little bit too much, and he wasn't the right assistant for me, um, that's nothing bad about him, nothing bad about me. It's just chemistry, right? So I want to make sure that he sees the moment as strategic profits as a stepping stone to something better, so that years later he can look at this time and have a positive feeling about it. So I don't know, Renan. It really depends. Like, if you're firing the people that are cleaning your office, if they're doing a shitty job, or if you feel like they're stealing from you, that's a whole nother thing, right? Whole nother thing. The assistant thing is tough, right? Because if the assistant person's been working with you for a while, they can do damage. You don't really want to hurt them, and I'm sure they don't want to hurt you. So you really want to help them find another place to land, make it as easy as possible for them to move, and based on why you might be letting them go, where might they excel, what might they do well with, and if they're interested in that, can you help them with that? Hey, Rich, what was the principle in your mind while creating webinar funnels? Like what you thought and why did you think it would be a great success? Kunal, we were doing automated teleseminars already for Jay Abraham. So we were selling some of Jay's stuff for him. Jay and I have been partners for like 20 some odd years. And so when we started to sell really well on automated webinars, on automated teleseminars, it was just a natural leap then to say, could we do this with webinars? Is it possible? Right? That's how it started. Thanks, Rich. Time. So I need to hire an assistant. I need to work on my systems and processes so I can scale and make my investment in an assistant an asset, not a liability. Yes, J-Rock. But what I would say is that you only work on system and process once you've gotten the outcome. That's another big mistake people make. So a lot of people because I used to be known as like the systems guy, I guess because of the manifesto. And so people would come to me and they'd like, I need help like creating a system to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, do you already do X, Y, and Z? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, first do X, Y, and Z. Do it in any which way that it needs to be done. Do it like with duct tape. Do it like, scrappy. Get the result. Then after you've gotten the result and you know that you can get the result, then you create a process and a system, right? In the beginning, it's about recording what you're doing, but not replicating it because you don't even know if you're getting the outcome. There's no point in that. And it's a big waste of time and it's a big distraction. So get the outcome first. Then, document how you got it. Side question. I'm wanting to share this live to one of my groups. I was asked if live sessions will still be available later when the group members click or if they'll be unavailable. I believe that they're available. I don't do anything to get rid of them. So they should be available. Thank you for asking, Michelle. April, how's it going? From Southern Cal. Nice. I'm in Arizona. I was going through the Evernote as a process some other time would be, I think going through Evernote as a process some other time would be a fantastic idea. I'd love to see it. I might have even done a live stream on it. So you might want to check, look maybe in YouTube or in Facebook. Mark Thompson. Hey, Mark Thompson. Hey, Rich, what proportion of your reading, note taking, and mind mapping do you do in electronic format? How often do you read physical books and use pen and paper? I use pen and paper a lot. I don't read as many books, hardcover or offline books as much as I used to. I do enjoy note taking and mind mapping also by hand. I do some electronic. It's almost 50-50, Mark. I do a lot offline. My preference is to be away from a computer because as someone with ADD, it's just not a good thing. Like I can very easily open up an email from Medium, find myself now saving 7 different articles to Evernote, seeing like that one of the articles was really well written and now downloading like everything that person wrote to it's just bad. So the more I can spend away from the computer, the better. So what makes some supplement companies more successful than others when they have similar products? Well, branding, advertising, etc. Right? I buy from Onnit because I trust Joe Rogan, and I believe that his integrity kind of will dominate on its deliverability. I will buy from uh, places like Nootropics Depot or Peptide Sciences, places that have lots of volume, that get lots of people who review it. You can look on Reddit and see that people only have positive things to say about Nootropics Depot and Peptide Sciences. People are always trying to track down like the best sources for stuff. Of course, yours will be none of those. Yours will not even make the list. That's what I'm trying to say. Like everything, like you're not going to benefit from anything when you go that route because you're not benefiting your customer at the end of the day. So why the fuck would they go out of their way to benefit your brand, your company? They wouldn't. So that's what a business is either like a good addition to the world or it's a detraction from the world. If there's a good nutrition company out there, you're a detraction. I mean, I hate to say that to you, Sam, because I know that might sting, but you want to offer things that people want and they want to buy from you. And, it just bums me out when people think it's just a marketing thing and that you're still selling to people. People want to buy what works. They want to buy what's best for them. Are you helping with that or are you not? And if you're not, you got to look in the mirror and really think about is that what you want your life to be? Do you want to be the person that actually diverts people who might be getting something better to what you're selling them because you make money on it? Might not be as effective for them, but so what? You got their money. Is that really who you want to be? And if that is, that's cool. I mean, I know a lot of people in business, that's who they are. It's not who I am. And I choose not really to work with companies that do that because there's just a million ways to make money in a good way. Why? And you limit your upside that way. But Sam, what I would say is that it's a great way to get started. If you can create your own packaging for that drop shipping company, if you can do whatever so you look different with the goal of ultimately being different, then you're headed down the right track. Are you still looking for good phone salespeople? Not sure, Leanne. We might have a different model. Why do you ask though, Leanne? I'm curious. 750 words is a pretty cool website to help gamify the art of writing every day. Oh, cool. I will have to check that out. 750 words. I will check that out later. So at any given point, Matt, I'm sharing a room with Matt. First time I shared a room with someone in how long, but Ryan was originally to Arizona. And since we're parting ways and he's going to be doing something else, we had an extra ticket. So Michelle Madden is coming, who's our affiliate manager plus really director of all outside relationships and inside relationships. And obviously, I can't sleep with Michelle, and neither can Matt. So Michelle has got my king size bed and the better suite, and I am here in the two bed queen. But I bet you I'm going to get on Matt's nerves pretty quickly. But I got to go first. He's going to come in at any time though. What do you mean about move something every day? Forward progress. That's what I mean, Renat. A day doesn't happen without something happening. I remember you saying that you're a better writer than speaker. Do you think that the current best traffic strategy is video? So you've adapted to video. Well, I'm trying to adapt to video, and I wouldn't think that I've done an amazing job, but I think I am getting better and I'm getting more comfortable. I think now that I'm more comfortable, what I really need to do is I really need to begin to start focusing on what it is that people who are really good on video do that I'm not doing. And I think that I have to spend more time thinking about the videos. And I think that I need to do more brainstorming and thinking about how do I make the idea of the video better. And I believe that it's more than just the best traffic strategy. I think that I don't think I'm alone when I say that the only destination site I have on the internet is YouTube. I think tomorrow's stars will be found today on YouTube. I think YouTube is still right now is the best platform to advertise on, far superior than Facebook, especially with the iOS challenges. And like it's if you think about branding, right? And if you think about like bonding, if you think about people knowing you, like there really is nothing better than video. And so, yes, it is that I'm adapting to doing video. I've got a long way to go. I have a very long way to go. I'm definitely not at the level where I'd like to be, where I plan on getting to. And it's really going to be a focus of mine to get as better and better on video as possible. I know I have a long way to go. And I think that should be something that every entrepreneur considers. I think that if you're going to be a personality for your business, it's incredibly important. And the better that you get at video, the more it will make a difference in everything that you do. And I think personally, I'd love to have like a big YouTube channel at some point, not necessarily for myself, but for Steal Our Winners. And I just believe that like it's more than a traffic strategy. It's actually it's a strategy to stay relevant going forward, not just for traffic, but just in general. And recognizing that people are becoming more sophisticated viewers of video too, because as video quality gets better, as there are more Mr. Beasts in the world who are doing these huge elaborate like giveaways and crazy stunts, that you just have to be better on video yourself, or you will seem more boring in comparison. So I think everyone should be working and doing some video work. I think that you want to make sure that you're at least somewhat competent, and recognizing that it is a great skill set to have. And if you can get very skilled on it, the world is your oyster. Oh, the new issue of Steal Our Winners was out today. Oh, cool. Yeah, I guess because Matt could come in here at any moment. So you're a great speaker too, by the way. Well, thank you. I feel like I don't know. I appreciate that, Bailey, but I do think that I could be more energetic. I could be more, yeah, like I think I'm too monotone, and I think that I need to spend more time just thinking about how I can better show these concepts in a way that's more like this is like a no-no, right? Like to be broadcasting live from a hotel room, like nothing. But yes, that is what I'm talking about. I do have a question though for you. And I think I mentioned this in the last one, but I don't really remember anyone's answers. So yeah, so so the comment that I get back most, like about myself, like when people talk about me, they say that I'm intense. And I still don't really know what that means. And I've never known what it means. And I was talking about it on a live stream. That's not this. I was on a Mike Tilsane's live stream. And I was watching a TV show with my daughter and my ex-wife. They were watching a show. I was just walking by. It has Nicole Kidman in it. It's called 9 Perfect Strangers. And I was watching a little bit of it. And Nicole Kidman in that movie seems extreme, or TV show, or whatever it is, seems very intense. Like when I was like, wow, she's intense. And when I said it, I was like, I laughed because that's the first time I've even said that about someone. And so I was watching that. If anyone's seen 9 Perfect Strangers, I assume that my intensity is not that, what Nicole Kidman's is in that role. But I'd be curious if you think I'm intense, and if you do, what you think that means, like, or what does that mean? Like, what does intense mean? Anyway, can't wait for the Infinity Funnel lessons. Me too. And there's a lot that I am working on, and I can't wait to share some of that stuff with you guys. Hey, Rich, I love you, man. Oh, well, thank you, Hamza. I have a question. What's your advice on someone who can't be stable on one decision, hesitant frequently? How can someone be mentally stable to achieve goals? Thanks. Hamza, what I would say is that what you really have to get is that your results will oftentimes, and like some people just find this very difficult to buy into, but your results oftentimes will be superior if you make decisions correctly as opposed to making the correct decision. And the decision correctly, making the decision correctly is about deciding and then cutting off options and now like plowing forward, maybe some check to make sure you're on the right path, but really not allowing yourself to vacillate that much and setting predetermined points where you will consider whether this is a go or no go. But those are stages and those are gates that you pass through based on decisions you make at the very beginning of when you're going to decide. Cosmo, what I've discovered about myself, and I discovered this like 20 years ago as it came to working out and my weight, I only kind of like was refamiliarized that it would also work in other areas of my life by Katrina Ruth about 2 years ago. So I work out daily, and I work out daily because I don't want to be fat. I don't work out daily to have a six pack, even though I'm lucky enough to have one, but I work out because I'm afraid of being fat and because I was fat as a kid and I hated it. And I've struggled with my weight. So what I realized was long time ago was that so often I didn't feel like working out. I didn't want to, but once I did start working out, I felt like continuing. So what I realized is that I can't make a decision about working out unless I'm working out, because if the question is, do I feel like working out? The answer is always going to be, no, I do not feel like working out. Right. But that's because of inertia. So I can only decide whether I want to be doing something or not doing something that I'm supposed to be doing when I'm doing it. So if I'm going to decide to not write, I have to write for 5 minutes to then decide I don't want to write or work out, right? So what I've recognized about myself, Hamza, is that my fleeting feelings at the moment are somewhat inconsequential. That just because I don't feel like writing doesn't mean I won't feel like writing 10 minutes from now when I'm actually writing. In fact, most things I don't feel like doing until I start doing them. And so I don't know if that will help you, Hamza, in this area, but if you're having challenges with doing the things that will get you to your goal, it might be more that you are allowing your feelings to dictate your actions, where maybe you shouldn't, or you should hold them in check and then change the context and then check in with your feelings. Why YouTube is your one thing online? What are you searching or consuming there? Well, I think it's the right mixture of things that I've already subscribed to and recent things that I've been interested in. So I like that. If there's anything big happening in the world, odds are it will be on the homepage. I enjoy speed and I consume news that way. I subscribe to a couple different news platforms, like Breaking Points is one of them, and I will listen to it in the background. But there's tons of great content in there. Like if I want to understand how to make better thumbnails, I can find it there. If I want to like philosophy, I can find it there. So everything is there. Win all the way around. Yeah, that's what I try and do. Make your biggest objections your business. Do you still need to touch them heavy in your copy? Well, you would, if you're making a bonus to count around an objection, of course you would touch heavily on them in the copy, but in the part where you're talking about the premiums, right? That would be awesome. Yeah, notes would be very awesome. Cool. That would be awesome, especially the ones on this for time. Cool. I thought it was cool that you were talking about Mr. Beast because I'm getting ready to publish an audio-based product in a few days about getting attention in the market. And in the chapter of that, I mentioned your 24-hour live stream, CSIB, and relate that tactic to things I see Mr. Beast doing frequently on his channel. The idea of shock and awe numbers and just long periods of time that people aren't used to. Pretty awesome stuff. Yeah, true. I didn't get that idea from him, but I definitely, he does it on a level that no one else does it, that's for sure. And, you know, I didn't really know who Mr. Beast was until I should have known who he was a long time ago. But that's how much I wasn't really paying attention to what's going on YouTube and stuff like that. And I think that was a mistake on my part, and I will do better. And so, yeah, I'm looking at what Mr. Beast does, and I'm trying to understand, like, what is it? Like, how does that what can I understand about the world, and what can I understand about YouTube, and what can I understand about YouTube watchers by looking at these successful avatars of like these creators. I saw a video of you saying that making your biggest objections your business is one way to make your bonus, not your make your bonus, yeah. But you still need to touch them heavy in your copy. Well, in your bonus, aren't you going to write about your bonuses in your copy? I don't understand the question. I'm setting up a virtual university for financial service professionals. What platform would you recommend for tracking members' progress through the content? There are so many, Kimberly. I don't think that that would that's not going to be challenging for most platforms. Relatively easy. Um, so I wouldn't be overly concerned. I don't think that should be any of the ones that really like it's not going to move very many out of the running. What you should be looking for is which one you think will help you grow your business the most based on some other factors. Shared, thanks. Okay, Rich, I'm just borrowing your brain. Where do I go from here to get started? Am I approaching this the wrong way? And should I move fast and break stuff and fix as I go? Yeah, you should always move fast. Look, what else could you add to it? Could you add a digital download so that like you're making what you're offering from that drop shipper better than what anyone else is offering from that drop shipper? Just understand that like there's a difference, right? And so anything that you can do that will have you start running some ads, running traffic, trying to sell, seeing what happens, right? Dealing with affiliates, having people hit the page will help you because everything is conceptual until it isn't. I saw a video of you saying that. Okay, yeah. All right, answered that one. I'm most comfortable in which kind of real estate am I most comfortable in? I'm most comfortable in the real estate where I get the least number of complaints. I don't want to deal with people. So I like triple net commercial personally, but or mixed use. Sometimes I hate my ADD, but when I look at you, I start loving it. Yeah, I love my ADD. I mean, it certainly causes problems from time to time, but I wouldn't trade it. I need to hear that. Thank you very much, Rich. My pleasure, Sam. Because I love to sell what you put out in the marketplace. I love your integrity and your trainings. Oh, well, thank you, Leanne. What I'm thinking about, Leanne, is actually doing something very different. That I should probably hold off on. But I guess yeah, I will share. We're creating a different model for that right now. So I think it might be a little premature to talk about it, but probably in a week or two. I live stream once a week and repurpose my podcast as well as my social platforms, but it seems so challenging to get the audience's attention without dancing like a TikTok video. What is your best source of new clients? Well, we're going to be doing a huge push with Steal Our Winners right now. I mean, our affiliates, I'd say, is probably number one because that's what we've just been focusing on because of the platform. Now that the new platform is coming on, we'll be doing a lot more. But like, yeah, look, I think it's useful for any entrepreneur to look at what's happening in TikTok and Instagram Reels and get a real sense of like what not necessarily, everyone is interested in, but what people your age, like people that you're targeting, what are they doing on there? Because yeah, the world is changing and you have a choice, just like I have a choice. We can either adapt or we can think we're superior. And generally what happens when you think you're superior is you get outdated and then you're left behind. So I think it's important to look at these things. I'm not saying spend a lot of time on them. I'm not saying make that your mission, but to understand what's going on in the world is, not the whole world, right? Like, if you're a marketer and you got an online business, it's probably more important than what's going on Instagram Reels than you do about what's going on in Afghanistan. Just going to say it, right? Like what's happening in Afghanistan is probably not going to impact you at all if you live on this side of the world. But what's happening on Instagram Reels could impact your business greatly. So how do you spend your time, right? So what I would say, April, is that where we get our best clients is a choice. And right now we're choosing to do that through affiliates. That will change for us pretty soon. I'm exhausted from offering my immigration consulting business. I've learned a lot of coaching methods and felt good about opening a coach training school in China. What do you think of these ideas? Very hard to say, Manxiang, because I just don't know what the market is like in China at all. I mean, I've been to China. I went once about 20 years ago. I was in Guangzhou with Brad Fallon and a bunch of people, but yeah, not really sure about that. You're doing a hell of a job on video, man. Thanks, Cam. That works. Thanks. Video is everything forever, in my opinion, as well as the most of the world. Thank you, Davey. Good to see you, my friend. Rich, in SOW, you say you have a goofy side to your personality. When you get more comfortable on camera, maybe sharing that will bond more viewers to you. Yeah, I certainly would think it would. I don't know why it is different, but it is. Like most of my friends would say I'm funny, and I know that that probably is very probably something that you guys don't see very often. But I'm very childlike, and I like to play, and I like to have fun, and yeah, I don't. That side doesn't really fit with this side, and so I do want to share more of myself. It's just figuring out like what's the best way and what formats and how, and that kind of stuff. Go, Michelle, the queen stealing the king's bed. Yeah. Yep, she did. Matt and I, two owners of the company, are bunking in one room so Michelle can have her king size bed. YouTube can really blow up top of mind awareness. Yeah, I mean, certainly does, doesn't it? I only see good about the vid local. Cool. Zach, even Esh. So interesting that you say this regarding videos. I've been posting videos on YouTube and sharing content since 2006. I am infinitely smarter than I ever was back then, but I'd say my viewership, following, and even my income is much, much less, which shows you how important marketing is and how actually complicated it is today compared to back then. Yeah, that's for sure. Look, are you aware that like top YouTubers will oftentimes make 3 or 4 different thumbnails. They will change the thumbnails if it's trending the wrong way, and they will see which thumbnail gets the best results. And they do a lot of stuff like that, and most people aren't aware of that. It is a highly competitive place that you don't necessarily see everything that's going on in the background. Intense for me is a matter of tonality, not evangelical. See, I called the Nicole Kidman character intense because of the way she what made her intense to me was how she looked at people like dead on. I don't do that. So I don't know that, or I don't do it most of the time. But like, it felt like there was no place to hide in front of her. I don't know if that's a good, but thank you, James. I agree that you are intense. People also call me tense. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand what that means, though. Intense, very focused. Okay, that could help. Intense has balls and intelligent, hard to bullshit, sometimes gets to the point, ignoring the other party's feelings or answers about econ and going straight to the point today is a perfect example. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Intense to me means incredibly focused, single-minded, unwavering, determined, full steam ahead. Well, if it meant that to me, I think I'd be very thankful that people say I'm intense. Intense that you're focused on achieving your life's mission, which I gather is truly helping strategically grow your intense in thought and perspective. My thoughts. Okay, thank you. I think that people interpret someone having a passion for something as being intense, probably because there are so many people out there that care so little about just about everything. That is true, right? It is kind of amazing how many people are just going through the motions of life. In fact, I remember reading this. I don't remember the book, and I know that some people on this live stream have read this book, but it was talking about that one of the best ways to guard against Alzheimer and dementia, or to keep your cognitive abilities intact, is to make decisions. And that when you think about it, like whenever you're making a decision, not just like choosing, but making a decision, right? You have to stop and wake up for a second. And so what they found was that, like, even in a nursing home, that significant improvements in mental performance, if like the person decided that it was time to eat breakfast themselves and then ate breakfast. Like, so asking, would you like to eat breakfast, as opposed to, it is now breakfast time. There is no other time to eat breakfast, but would you like to eat breakfast? Causes the person to have to like go off autopilot for a second and make a decision. And I think you can be on autopilot too long. I don't know how long. And I'm totally talking like out of my, this is just thoughts, beliefs, not any research or anything like that. But I do think that most people are on autopilot. But if you want to get someone off autopilot, ask them a question, like have them make a decision about something that wakes people up. I found it fascinating, though, that would also keep people, if you consistently do that, not from having their mind go dark. Intense can seem too powerful or intimidating for those with self issues. Interesting. Hmm. But like, yeah, we're going to revisit that. I want to understand that better, because there are definitely people that I enjoy watching. I wouldn't call them intense, like, and maybe that's a frame. Check the report on Strategic Profits Facebook group called The Hidden Obstacles to Success. It might help you in this self journey. Did help me immensely. Yes, Hamza, a lot of people tell me that report that I wrote, actually that report that I wrote, the Hidden Obstacle report, has gotten more unsolicited positive testimonials than any paid report I've ever written. Obviously, my free reports were downloaded millions of times, so I have more testimonials for those. But paid, certainly that one. Hey, Mr. James von Elswick, who is in Mr. Elswick is in Europe right now. He's in Kiev, I think. Why would she be? Okay. Do you have any suggestions for people that can't decide on what product to sell? Sell anything. Are you talking about your own product or someone else's product? Anything is better than nothing, because even doing something wrong will give you experience. And so, hard to say, Donald, with so little information. Is it because you don't like, what niche, but you don't know what product, or you really don't know what niche, what product, what anything? The best thing to do when you really have no idea is to get some experience, to do things, right? To talk to people. More often than not, I'll tell you, like, I've shared this before, and but it's relevant here. I used to, and back in 2012 or whenever I started my midlife crisis, and I really had nothing to do. My ex didn't really want to be spending. She didn't want to go to the beach. She didn't want to do anything with me. My team didn't need me. I had nothing to do. I'd go into my library at home, and I'd stand there like minutes thinking, what the fuck to do today? What do I want to read? What do I want to do? Right? And I could stand there for 5 minutes, like in a trance, and just be like really bummed out that there's nothing to do. And I was telling a coach this, and they said, "Do you buy books?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Do you go to Amazon, like thinking you're gonna buy a book, end up buying like maybe 5 or 10 because you just start noticing things you like?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And the coach was like, "Your life would work a lot better if you approached life like you approach book buying, as opposed to just standing there hoping that the idea hits you." And I think he was right. I think, yeah, the more you engage with life, the more likely you are to bump into things. So the question is what are you certain of right now? Do you know what niche you want to be in? Or do you know what niches you don't want to be in? Do you know what type of customers you want? Do you know what kind of like things you might want to sell? And then get out into the world, and whatever that means. Because the likelihood is that you will have success. There he is. That you'll have success when you find the thing that you most likely captures your attention, energy, and passion. And Matt just walked in from the airport. He's wearing his mask like a good person. I have my own kit. Actually, I could show it to you guys. Matt will get a kick out of it too. It's in my bag, so let me grab it. Travel kit. There are people already at the event. Like, yeah, like it started at 10. You can go to the lobby. And where's the key? Hold on. 1 second, guys. I have the key in my pocket. Oh, you got it. Okay, cool. All right, I'll be done here in like half hour. I'll text you. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the gym too. So this is what I got as my travel kit. This is a 2 home COVID-19 tests with a prescription for ivermectin. So if and when I don't feel well, if that ever happens, but hasn't happened in years, then I will take one of these. I'll find out whether I have COVID. And if I have COVID, then I'm supposed to call my doctor and he'll tell me what to do with the ivermectin. But even if you've ever had COVID, supposedly this can knock it out within like a couple of days. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, Donald. So you'll bump into it. Just keep looking. Kimberly, I do understand what people are saying when they describe you as intense. My husband is intense. People describe me as deep. It's not a compliment. Intense is closer to a compliment. They're saying you come off as driven, focused, competent, and serious about your mission, and they respect that even if they don't agree or get on board with you for some reason. Deep usually means they have no idea what I'm talking about, but they like the sound of it. That's funny, Kimberly. That is funny. Thank you, Renan. I'm looking for it. Yeah, you'll find it, Hamza. When people say you're intense, I think it means you have conviction. I love that about you. It means you're clear on what you believe and you're congruent about it, not wishy-washy. Oh, thank you. Like your thoughts on video, the improvements you seek. What do you see in others that you were impressed by? Education, personality, deliverability? To answer your question, I like your honesty and detail. If that's intense, that's good with me. Oh, that's interesting. The improvements that I seek there are some people that are just engaging to watch and listen to. Sometimes it even transcends what they're talking about. And I could notice, and a lot of that comes with experience. Like when I got to watch Gary Vaynerchuk, right? The Gary Vaynerchuk that started Wine Library TV was nowhere near as charismatic as he is today, or he was by already like 2008 and 9. And then the person that I watch now, probably the most on YouTube, or not that much because he doesn't create that much content, but there's a gentleman there's a gentleman that has a channel called More Plates, More Dates. I think he started it when he was back up in like the pickup artist community, but he's now like an uber scientist, probably one of the smartest guys when it comes to supplements and their impact on the body. And anyway, like you could watch, he's been doing daily videos for years. And what a difference. What a difference. Like if you watch the videos that he did 5 years ago, it really feels, you can see his anxiety, you can feel it, right? Whereas now when you watch him, it seems like you're in the room with him and he's just talking to you, right? And he's just having a good time and he's talking to you. And that is so much more comfortable to watch, obviously, than nervousness is like emoting out of the camera. So I'd say that, right? But it's also about understanding what captivates people's attention and making sure that the default is to that. And I think that's probably where I have the biggest problem. See, I want to default, like when we're talking about something, I want to default into a concept. I want to like kind of default into a strategy or a thing to do. And more often than not, what I don't do, which is probably the most powerful thing to do, is to search my mind really quickly for a story that would illustrate the point. And because stories are just much more enjoyable to watch and listen to. And it's one of the reasons why when I came out to California last time and I was visiting Michael Francis, and I put Michael Francis on YouTube on the background while I was working, Kim could hear it and she was listening to one after another, because everything that Michael was doing was telling stories. I have lots of interesting stories. They don't generally come to me and like when I'm turning on the camera for whatever reason. And so it's about recognizing that currently I need to prep more if I want to get better. I would like to get better without prepping. And my goal would be to be great without prepping. But I think the next step in getting there is I got to prep and then watch what I do, look at it, see how I can improve it. And I haven't done any of that, but that's what I want to do. Oh yeah, listen, Leanne, of course, Mr. Beast does have a totally different audience, but there's things to learn from Mr. Beast. There's when some he's an exemplar, right? When anyone achieves amazing success in an area that is leaps and bounds above everyone else, it pays to look a little bit more closely at what they're doing so that even if you're in a totally different world, right, you can benefit from it. So it never occurred to me, right, that my first 24-hour live stream back in 2008 was in a certain way kind of very similar to what Mr. Beast does, as far as I'm going to count to 100,000. Watch me, right? Like that's one of his videos. That was one of them that he counted to 100,000. I don't even know how many hours that is. That's kind of crazy. Or like the last person that takes their hand off of this wins $1 million. It's just taking things to absurd conclusions, right? And I wanted to do 48 hours or 72 hours. So I guess in that one small little area, there's one thing that is similar, but I bet you that lots of brainstorming could be happening when you look at the 4 different types of videos he makes, and it's about just taking things beyond like the scope of normalcy, I would say. But he is entertainment and escape. I believe your content is more how-to rather than entertainment, but being an entertaining as you would be, would be an asset. Right, exactly. That's my point. I want to be as entertaining as possible without like dumbing down my content, without like just being an entertainer. I don't even know how to entertain, but yeah, that's the point. The point is to not change the content, but to present it in a way where eventually, right, there's no ums, there's no likes, there is just a good time watching what I'm sharing. I think I can do that. I don't think it's going to happen though if I don't make it, and I've been reluctant. So there you go. Thank you as always. My pleasure. Rich, I'm similar regarding doing things. I procrastinate until the deadline is about to hit. Then I bang it out. Moreover, I learned early I do well under pressure, and the content is enjoyed, which is not helping me beat the procrastination. Well, the first thing, Davey, is like, do you do better under pressure, or do you only work under pressure? There's a big difference, right? And the clarity is always important. I learned early I do well under pressure, and the content is enjoyed. Yeah, but you can make it, Davey, so that you actually feel pressure more frequently and therefore are hitting a routine, right? That would be a way to do it. Villain Air. That's a funny name, Villain Air. Is Infinity Funnel still open? I don't believe so, but I don't know. Guys, I don't know if you guys think this is normal or maybe it's not, but like I'm aware of what my company's doing, obviously. But I'm not involved that much in the day-to-day. It's not it's not I could do it, certainly. I mean, I've done it numerous times myself, like to get things going, but yeah, it's not, I don't know whether it's open or not. You'd have to check with customer support. At Yeah, or it is?
The live.
The live is sold out?
$1,000
Yeah.
is closed, but if they want to do the at home.
Right. Okay. So the live version is sold out, but the at home study,
Yeah.
that's like, I think a third the price, is available. And it's just still like same links or whatever, or check email or.
Shoot an email to customer service.
Okay. Yeah. Email customer service, billionaire, mail at strategic profit. James, so real estate, we have focused on our properties that increase in the downturn, such as trailer parks, RV lots, experiential properties that can be Airbnb, cabins, glamping, which have higher ROI. That's a great answer, Martin. James, take note of that. That's a really great answer. I would imagine that those kinds of places would be ideal investments. Anything that increases in a downturn, because there will be a downturn at some point. We know this, right? I'm watching for Brazil, and the online marketing and how people do it is still very basic. What are some steps and paths I can take to learn everything I can to be the go-to guy? Well, I would get your hands on all of my reports for one. the Internet Business Manifesto, the Missing Chapter, the Final Chapter, the Intention Age Doctrine 1 and 2, the Maven Manifesto, and the Uncertainty Syndrome. And if you were to read those, you have like at least a pretty good documentation of what's going to happen in Brazil, just like it's happened here, right? Like Japan was several years behind the US. So when we first went to Japan, it was like, for me, it was like 2006 all over again, even though it was like 2012 or 13, because they were a couple years behind us. And so the marketers were experiencing the very same things that I had written about, but they were just doing it several years later. If Brazil is behind Japan, which it probably is, you would want to take a look there. I mean, look, the U diagram was the most passed along diagram I ever created, and it still resonates today. So I would think about that. I describe you as a serious straight talker. Most people want entertainment. I joined SOW for education. The happy medium would be edutainment. You have no problems attracting followers. Yeah, I just would like to get better at edutainment. And that is like, I guess that's just like, figuring out your niche, right? It's like figuring out what is it that you do that would make it easiest for you to be entertaining. Or if I'm going to rephrase that, what is it that I do that other people find entertaining that I find is easy to do? And maybe that's the question I need to reflect on. Thank you, Wendy. That's a good way of kind of talking about it. I had an opportunity to be a co-host of a weekly YouTube show for over 5 years, and the only requirement was to be me. And this was happy in my own skin, and being a lover of people did add to this. Cool. Thank you. Rich, can you give us some info about your great idea to change and improve direct marketing? Thank you. Did they say I was going to change direct marketing? Well, what we're doing is we're going to kind of shift away from funnels. I believe that they're like, funnels are great when you don't know anything about the people going through it. Let that sit for a second. Funnels are great when you don't know anything about the individual going through it. But as soon as you know anything about that individual, why would you take a unique person down that like you have information on them? Why would you send them down a generic path? You wouldn't, which is the whole purpose of a funnel, a generic path. So when you go to YouTube, right, you have like, this is how I started my presentation on AI. I started my presentation on AI, not me starting the talk, but my digital representation starting the talk, because I have a digital representation. I have lots of them, and so do you. Well, every time you go to YouTube, YouTube has a digital representation of you. And that digital representation is every thumbnail you've ever seen and the ones you've clicked on, how long you've watched, which ones you watch in succession, when you bail, where you've watched from. Vice did you watch from? Everything. They know more about you than you know. I want to make that very clear. So you have a user agent, your YouTube user agent, and your YouTube agent is always right behind you, watching everything you do, everything you type in, everything you watch, everything that you look at, everything on that platform. That user agent has a good idea of what you're going to want to see next, which is why the platform changes consistently, like your home screen. That's what we want to do. Exactly that. So do that, but for marketing, right? Your user agent is with you all the time. And so you get to a place where there will be an offer made. Do we offer you the thing based on, that we made this funnel? Or do we offer you based on the fact that 95% of others who watch the same videos you did all bought this one thing? Should we show you that one thing? Right? Like, that's the difference. So what I'm suggesting is that funnels were a great way to battle the problem of marketing effectiveness in a world where no one is going potentially to consume the whole message in one brief, kind of interaction. Even multiple pages breaks it up. I believe that nowadays things have to be a lot more flexible. You have to meet people where they're at even more so. And you better be catering to what there better be a data component and it better start to learn about them, because when you're the only one that doesn't know about them, you're the only one who is not going to be able to make a recommendation. You're the one who's going to pay the price for it. So that is some of what I'm talking about when I talk about like altering the landscape a little bit. I You don't have to be a genius to know that like data is increasingly becoming more valuable. AI runs on data. AI is just a prediction machine. Another way of thinking about AI is that it's a prediction machine. It's predicting what next behavior would be best for you, what you're most likely to buy next, etc. As predictions get more accurate, values become more important. And so I want to usher in a whole new era of prediction in marketing based on data in our world, but I want to do it in a way that hopefully puts down a path of positive kind of improvement and not manipulation and things like that. Recently, I built an ISO VAR model into my company to scale, and it blew up. But I'm learning this model as I go. Do you know of any books, resources, or coaches I could utilize to expedite learning? Are you talking about like ISO 9000, that kind of ISO, or are you talking about a different ISO? Tell me what you mean by ISO VAR. You have a good subscriber base. At first glance, at Zach Evanesh, first glance of your channel, it looks like your thumbnails could be better. You're not consistent with them. Okay. You're talking to Zach, right, Leanne? I hope so. Do you believe in using energetic work or spiritual connection in your business? Any recommendations for this type of service? I don't. I've had clients. I had a big guru, a Russian guru who is huge in what's that stuff? I forget what it's called, like feng shui, like in feng shui and stuff like that. I do believe in energy work and spiritual action, stuff like that, not in probably the ways that you think about it. I think that the world is much more complicated than we realize. We like to think of cause and effect, but there's millions of causes and millions of effects happening at the same time, and we only isolate one. So I believe the world is much more complicated than we can even imagine. And because of that, the world works more complicated than we can imagine. And because of that, I do believe that there are forces that we do not see and do not know. And I do think that some of that is very real and concrete. I don't let it disrupt my business, though, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Amit, when someone calls you intense, they are too shy or honest to call themselves shallow. Whoa. Oh, I don't know about that. I think that's a little bit too strong, Amit, but thanks for watching my back. Noan, Georgia's strategy of preeminence and membership are good resources. I agree. Intense makes me think of someone very serious and deliberately not playful. Yeah, I would say so. I would think that that's true. Yeah. Going off the script, if you want to call it this, is where potential is highest to both be the blessing and to be blessed in any given moment in time. Rich, did you study Richard Bandler, Dave, Igor? I studied with Bandler, and I think I was before Igor, David. Oh, David's been around a long time too. No, I studied with Bandler. I studied with John Laval. I studied with Doug O'Brien. A little bit with Kenrick Cleveland, not much. And a bunch of others. NLP Comprehensive when they were bigger back. Well, I don't know, they could be much bigger now, but 20 years ago. And I took a ton of hypnosis certifications and things like that too. Please don't change. Your delivery is the only one that works for my brain. Interesting. So what is it that works about it? So I can know that at least, Trader Rob. And you don't have to tell me now, but tell me at some point because that would be useful. Hello, Rich. Have you tested have you tested you or also with Agora markets outside the US? The offers are successful in US, are also successful outside. Yeah. Yeah, we have like if you go to strategicprofits.jp, you'll see strategic profits of Japan. If you type in strategicprofits.it, you'll see strategic profits of Italy. Yeah. And in Agora, like we have divisions all around the world. In fact, like 2 summers ago, or maybe it was now 3, I spent a weekend in France at the castle training all the international publishers. And what was really cool was that Bill and Mark sat in on the whole thing. So I felt really good about that. Stag Night in Scottsdale. Yeah, who lives in Scottsdale? How did I get an ivermectin prescription? I am I've helped a lot of doctors in my life. I guess that would be the reason. And generally, when I ask for things, I get them from people who I've helped in the past. I've been having ivermectin for a year. Oh, well, my doctor told me not to take it. He said, travel with it, travel with the test. If anything happens and you start feeling crappy, take the test. If the test comes back positive, text me and we'll put you on a protocol right away. So cool. What is the best time to contact a customer for an upsell, Rich? Immediately after the sale or after some days? While they're still in the sale would be the ideal. If not, right after. Yeah, as soon as humanly possible. Derek, for more plates, more dates is awesome. Info he provides is amazing. Yeah, I agree, Rami. But here's the thing. Here's the marketing lesson. You really should do this if you're a fan of Dennis. Of Derek. Go back to the beginning of the channel and see how horrible he was. It's like really bad. And he's so much better now. And it's just, I just watched like really old, and I watch the current stuff all the time. But yeah, he definitely has gotten a lot better. He's very comfortable in front of the camera, and you feel that comfort, especially if you look at his old stuff. Robert wants to know who we're talking about. We're talking about Derek. That's his name. And the name of his channel is More Plates, More Dates. I first came upon him because I saw a thumbnail that said Wes Watson, natty or not. Now, Wes is a friend of mine. So, like, what is this all about? I didn't even know what natty meant. And natty means natural versus steroids. So he was doing a video about Wes and whether Wes takes steroids or not. And I just liked his energy and I thought he was funny. And so I started watching more. And as I started watching more, it was his videos actually that have me growing some of my hair back, right? Because he's the one that told me about microneedling my head and all kinds of stuff. He's got good stuff. Yep. Point of purchase is where upsells happen the most. Rich, just keep being yourself, just doing what you do. Your videos and content are amazing. Thanks, man. I totally agree with you on building off and exemplary individuals. That's why I have invested in you and SOW and grew so much. Well, thank you. Never ends, right? I want to be as good on video, at least as Derek. I think Derek is really good on video. And, Derek is no Vaynerchuk and Derek is no Mr. Beast, but he's extremely knowledgeable. He spends most of his day, I think, studying, and then he riffs out those videos. Thanks for doing the live stream, Rich. You rock. Thanks, Cam. Wow. Thank you, Rich. I came to these sessions for different reasons, and it makes me stick and learn so much more. You are amazing. Well, thank you, Anza. Thanks for saying that. Been online for a long time. I've never heard of Mr. Beast. So what exactly is he doing online? Emmy, which is funny because you're on YouTube right now. Mr. Beast is like got the 17th biggest channel on YouTube worldwide. He is growing at like millions per month and has like more views than there are people on the planet and just ridiculous stuff like that. And he creates and he's doing it. Yeah, I mean, he does it on the platform. There's a lot to see. Can you speak about how you're able to not be in the day-to-day of your company? Well, what question do you have about that? I'm not sure. Like, I always have a right-hand person. That right-hand person is really the detail person that runs the day-to-day of the business. And the reason why is that I'm very bad at that. And the reason I'm very bad at that is that I don't like details. I like to be flaky at times. I don't want to talk to people just because they want to talk to me. I do these things, but like it's not ideal for me. And so that's why. And if you recognize that it's not your strength, then you're also are much less likely to suffer what's called the technician's ego, where you feel it's only good if you do it. I don't feel that way. And so the I'm very open to having someone else do it and for me to pop in and out, but recognize that that's their world. They're really in charge. So if I have problems with it, I can talk to them. I talk to my right hand person, not the team. I don't ever, right? And but it's pretty straightforward. Have the knowledge. Cool. Where can I get those reports of yours, Rich? Which reports? Well, the free reports are just out there, right? So if you write it like the Internet Business Manifesto, I'm sure you'll find it. Missing chapter, final chapter, all those, they're out there. If you want the Founders Club reports, I think I've posted 2 or 3 in the Facebook group. We have to figure out what we're doing with the rest of them. But that'll get you started at very least. Well, so Renan is saying that the uncertainty syndrome is not available in the Facebook group, but it's also called the entrepreneurial emergency. So just so you know, it's either called, it's because it says the uncertainty syndrome on the upper left, and then the title is the entrepreneurial emergency, Renan. So just let me know if that's there or not. Rich, I have knowledge, but don't know which market to jump into, and I'm trying to avoid the online opportunity space. It's overwhelming a bit. Any advice? Think about what conversations you'd be very hard to hold yourself back in. So I stay pretty quiet. Like when I'm out in the world, I don't tell people what I do or whatever. They got to ask and stuff. But like if someone sitting right next to me was thinking about like starting an online business that was more in my wheelhouse, I'd have a hard time, like if on the plane or something, hard time not saying something. So what would that be for you? What would be hard not to say something? Right. And then also looking at the skills you have, what problems does that allow you to solve? And who would you like to work with that has those problems, right? Who has those problems? Who would I like to work with? So there's a couple ways to go about it, Plyo Coach. But I would say that, yeah, you start to build out from yourself, right? Like what are the problems you're able to solve? Who has those problems? Kind of go out from there. And then just be active in the world and see how you can help people. And when you're helping people, see if that's a problem that's in search of a solution. Rich, do you have any advice to improve webinar conversion? I have a ton of advice on improving webinar conversion. And the first thing, I mean, there's lots of things you can do. I don't know what the challenge is specifically for you, but the first and foremost thing would be to make the offer better, to get the offer earlier, because it's not about how long the webinar is. It's about how long it is until you get to the offer, because people can't buy until the offer's up. So getting to the offer faster, kind of maybe readjusting even the framework of the overall webinar so that it comes earlier process. That would be another thing. I'd read the book One to Many by Jason Fladline. Great book on what makes a webinar pitch work. And I'd also potentially have a bonus for showing up or staying to the end. I would have teasers about what you're going to continue to be like in the webinar. There's a ton of things, right? I mean, I've done a ton of Stealer winners on webinars as well. So you can always improve the webinar conversion, right? But that's also a function of keeping more on for longer. It's also a function of getting more people to show up. It's getting more people to register. It's, so you can look at all these metrics and focus on each one and do a thing or two to try and improve each one each time and ultimately make a colossal big difference, right? You tell people to write every day to get better, perhaps doing a video a day that you don't have to publish, maybe interacting with the camera as you do with your friends as you speak. Yeah, that would work, Leanne. And I actually did do that for a short time about 10 years ago or 12 years ago, or maybe 15. I don't even know. Like I think about 10 years ago, I was doing daily videos from my car. And I'd have my sunglasses on because it's sunny in Florida, but also then I could look straight at the road and the camera was right in front of me. So even though I wasn't looking at the camera, I was getting more comfortable being in front of the camera. And that certainly helped quite a bit. Good suggestion, Leanne. Sounds like a much broader application of the segmentation and tagging which occurs in a well-designed email campaign. Oh, Kevin's talking about like, well, yes, it's certainly. I know you could start it with that, I'd say, but it's a lot more than that, right? It's about understanding that the more you know about your prospects and customers, the easier it is potentially to sell them exactly what it is they most want, and because of that, you can leverage that. And you should leverage that. Okay. How are you planning to collect all the data about your revolutionary idea to get away from funnels? By the way, I agree with you. I don't think they're horrified. And they know it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Don't you, yeah, I mean, well, Amit, you do agree with me. All right, let's see. Huh. Okay. It's the infinity funnel system that they are building and testing. Yeah. What would you use for an NFT? I have no idea, and I need to be more educated on it. I understand what NFTs are, but I don't really get it. Wishful thinking. When are you doing a live with Rory Sutherland? I got to go approach him, but I want to do a live with Rory Sutherland. Definitely want to do a live with Rory Sutherland. Got to make that happen. I'll talk to Michelle about it. Your delivery is authentic, monotone, or inflection. Love of persons you are connected with, vocabulary, mannerisms, and bare knuckle honesty. Hope this explains why I watch and interact. Wait, okay, so my delivery is authentic. Oh, monotone or inflection. Love of the person. Okay, right. But it is monotone, isn't it? I mean, you guys can be honest with me. Like you've said a lot of nice things about me. I appreciate it, but it is a little monotone. Like I could do a much better job of like just adjusting my voice, right? Inflecting. Not maybe right now, but like normally it just starts to drone, doesn't it? I think I do. Rich, at the beginning, when I hired the first employee, he's going to do a lot of different things. Is it better to tell him before, search for a specific position, and then tell him to do everything? I think what you want to do, Alessio, is recognize that people will do a lot more for a purpose or a cause than they would ever do for getting paid, right? You know, we know this, right? Like when, so what you want to do is you really want to sell this first employee on the dream, like what you're building. Like imagine being the second employee at YouTube, the second employee at Google, the second employee anywhere, right? And having watched more people and more people as this thing that we're building together grows. This could be a story for the rest of your life. This could make you wealthy. If the company continues to grow, will always grow from inside. This could be life-changing. So I would be very upfront about it, Alessio, and sell them on it. That's the way you should. Thanks for answering my question. My pleasure. Geez. Okay. Wow. Rich, if you're looking for a hair growth solution, find Austin Dixon, who will be at the California event. Oh, really? The Copy Accelerator is in Scottsdale. He can help you. He works with a company called Antigen in Austin and is a great guy. Well, thank you, Rami. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Enjoy your workout. Thanks again. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's going. What has been your best offer so far? Well, the best offer I ever made was probably with the Internet Business Manifesto. How would you collect the data for your idea? How are we going to collect the data? Well, Steal Our Winners is going to be a free, open to the public platform that anyone can access. Every video will be up there. There will only be previews, though, unless you're a member. Plus, everything like you do on Netflix. I hope you guys know that everything you do on Netflix is recorded. Everything you do on Amazon is recorded. This is not a new idea. On many of the, on Google, they do personalized search, right? Like then when you search my name and I search my name, we see different things. So Google is watching everything that you do. You're spewing out data every time you click or type a letter. It's just a question of who's catching it. And I want to catch some of it because I know I can make something better with it. That's the idea, Amit. Best sales letter you ever wrote? Why was it successful? Best sales letter I ever wrote was why Jay Abraham is betting you and 99 other online marketers that he can make you 2 million, is betting 500,000 in cash that he can make you 2 million in the next 90 days. And that was for a coaching program. I wrote it in Jay's voice and we crushed it. That was the last sales letter I wrote and the best. You are not monotone. Your voice is consistent. There's a big difference. Oh, really? What is okay? I'll have to look into that. I always thought they were the same. What will all this funnel software be good for if the funnel is dying? Well, they'll still be good. You might create funnels on the fly. You might look, just because something new comes along doesn't mean everything else is dead. I mean, that could be, if that was said, like the funnel's dead, that's hype, right? Like billboards are not dead, radio's not dead, telephone's not dead, newspaper's not dead, magazine's not dead, and funnels won't be dead either. But there will be better ways to market. And we want to pioneer some of those. Yes, it is monotone, but you'll learn we like your brain. Yeah, but don't you think it would be better if it wasn't monotone? Don't you think that makes it so that people who are not really here maybe just to get educated won't even stick around? Dude, I'm a CEO coach to many leaders, and you are far from too intense, nor are you monotone. You are energized and upbeat. Okay, then I'll drop it. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. Agreed that you can do more with your voice. Check out Roger Love. Yeah, I know who he is. I haven't gone through any of his material though. Your voice is one that gives me the impression that you have spoken on many stages. That's true. Service heart is valued over tone. Got it. You can definitely do a better job with voice tonality. I know. And I'm sure you already know how, based on your background on hypnosis. Yeah, but I don't talk like that normally. That's what I mean. I could, if I'm making, I would imagine that most people who inflect their voice better, they do this naturally. They don't have to think about it. Maybe in the beginning they have to think about it as they start getting better, but certainly not throughout their day. They're not like, how do I emote more? But that's kind of it, isn't it? Like, how do you emote more? How do you take the voice and give it something extra, like either with movement, with up or down or anything, right? Authenticity is a lot more important and engaging than being slightly monotone. That I totally agree, but you can certainly be better, right? And just on that front for a second, the thing that I've mentioned it a couple times, not on this live stream, but I've mentioned it a couple times in the last couple of weeks, and it was from a Steal Our Winners that I did with David Deutsch, where he was talking about that trust trumps believability. That there are people that I don't trust. They can have all the proof in the world, I still don't trust them. There are people who I totally trust, they don't need any proof, and I will trust them. Trust trumps believability. Just thought that's interesting. Rich, does that mean you are developing a platform? I am developing a platform. It's not on the same scale, obviously, as like the big tech platforms. That's not our intention. It's not our goal. We're not trying to be a multi-billion-dollar business. But yes, we're building a new platform designed specifically to help every person in online marketing get the tactic that they need most to grow their business the most in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of friction. Thanks as usual, my man. I'm sure you'll rock that audience later on. Already inside Infinity Funnel, Rich, excited to get things started. Oh, cool. Me too. I didn't even know that there was an inside. Quick question. How certain you are that the Infinity Funnel is the next big thing? I think Chris, I'm 100% positive that there are certain elements of this that will be mainstream within some period of time. Whether or not everything, that's hard to say, right? Chris, you are more than welcome to ask me that consistently as I'm teaching it. And I'll have a better answer for you by the time we're done. Like after I look at everything that we covered, the likelihood of our success, what I see you guys doing, I think I'll have a better answer. I just don't have it yet. Study acting. I wanted to study acting. And like improv and stuff. And I went to a couple acting classes, but I was taking my daughter actually because she really wanted to study acting. But I told the instructor I would like to do this too. And someone told me to pick out a character, and I did. I'd like to act like that character. Can you show me how to act like that? And it was Isaac Serco from Dexter, who just gave off like an energy that I kind of like, confident kind of energy. Isaac Serco and Dexter is coming back, which is super exciting. It was my favorite TV show. Rich, if you're really monotone, you'd be putting your audience to sleep. That's true. It's not just voice, it's level of excitement. I used to produce radio, and the on-air host spoke much differently in conversation than when on air. Leanne, can you tell me more about that? That's actually kind of interesting. That is very interesting. Like, what would you say the difference is in their voice when they were on air? Like, what did they do to their voice? And yeah. And marketing specialist at Pro, is that you? All right. I'm not going to go there. You and Anderson Cooper are very similar. Well, that's a compliment, I guess. The facial mannerisms and expressions are more captivating and trust building than the voice. Oh, interesting. I thought the character would be Donald Duck. That I want to be more like Donald Duck. No. Let's see. All right. So I guess we're kind of done. Look at that. And I think this was fun. So cool. I'm not sure what we're going to do Sunday. I'm not sure what we're going to do Thursday. What I really want to do is let's like pull something out of the vault and play it for you guys. But by Thursday, I might have some really cool stuff to share just from the event here. So I think I should do that. So I'm not sure if we're doing one on Thursday, but if we do, you'll get an email about it. So if you're on our email list, you're all good. If you're not on our email list, you probably should go to Strategic Profits, opt in. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you should, because I put some of the content that we charge for in there, and so check it out. And what else can I tell you? I think that's it. I probably want to waste a little bit more time before I go to the gym. This way I'll wait until Matt finishes so that I can be in the gym after him. Although I assume the gym's big enough for both of us. I'm just fooling around. And let's see what the final comments are here. It's all about producing emotions with your voice. Yeah, I know that. Well, but it's also about thinking about content that taps emotions, right? Because a lot of times when you're talking about concepts or completely intellectual pursuits, they're missing the emotion part. I'd be happy to share more on-air personality. I produced a radio for a year and watched the pros do it every day. Yeah, Leanne, definitely. Message me in Facebook, or message me. How do I get in touch with you? Yeah, message me on Facebook, or like give me a way in the comments on YouTube to do it, or message me on Instagram. Message me somewhere. That was fun. Thank you, Marie, and thank you for the live today. Good luck today, and go crush it. Enjoy your workout. Cool. The emotion is in the delivery. So true. And I brought my portable Juve light with me, so I'll be doing this actually before I go to the gym. Yeah, that's not a good look, is it? Anyway, so I got my Juve light, and I'm going to work out. I'm going to feel great. I'm going to crush this presentation. I don't present until Thursday though, so they just want the presentation ahead of time. So with that, I will see everyone Thursday. If not Thursday, I will be back in Florida on Tuesday. I'll let you know whether I'm speaking at Traffic and Conversion on either Thursday or on Tuesday. They reached out to me, and since they're going to be there, I was like, yeah, I might be able to do it. So, but it really depends of whether or not they're going to put me in some like side room, which I have no interest in doing, or if I'm going to be more out front. If I'm out front, then I'm willing to do it. If I'm all the way in the back in some like side room, I'm not interested. I know Brendan. Yeah, I know Brendan. You know what? I don't. I'm gonna bite my tongue. Yeah, Brendan's wonderful. He's a great guy. Interesting how his hair grew back when he had when he supposedly had brain surgery. Just saying. You can do the math on that. If maybe he didn't, and maybe he did a different type of operation. Just saying. Anyway, have a wonderful week. To higher profits and beyond. Bridge Sheffrin over and out.